Hi, I'm fRSSeed. Welcome to my RSS course in which we're going to talk about how you can use RSS inside your application, this application being WinDev, WebDev or WinDev Mobile. We're going to look mostly at the WinDev side of things, but it's going to give you a very good starting point on everything you can do with RSS feeds. First thing first, let's talk about some definitions. RSS means Rich Site Summary, but it also means RDF Site Summary and really simple syndication. So you choose your own poison. Clearly they decided that one name was not good enough, so they gave the same thing several names. Now, all that is just a name. So what is RSS? Well, RSS is a stream of information. And these streams go from publishers, and the publishers are generally websites or web services, to subscribers, and these subscribers are software called either RSS reader, feed reader, aggregator, or things like that. News aggregator and so on and so forth. These pieces of software can be either desktop, web or mobile based. There's nothing fixed in that. You can read information from anywhere. Now, why is there such a thing as RSS? Well, it's a system that has been devised to let users know automatically when something new is available, without the user having to go on each site and check is there something new here, something new there, and so on and so forth. They are immediately aware that something is going on, so they don't have to search and lose their time. So for the user, it is much simpler to get information this way because, well, the software automatically checks if there's something new and tells you. And for the publisher, because it is much easier for the user, it means that he will have more people checking out his site or information, news feed, whatever you want to call it, because, well, it's easy, and easy sells. So it's a good deal because it's giving something to each side. Sorry, there is more. RSS is a concurrent of Atom, or Atom is a concurrent of RSS. So basically Atom is something that is doing the same thing. RSS was adopted earlier, so it is more known or more adopted or something like that. Atom is considered to be technically more advanced. It doesn't mean that it's going to replace RSS at all. It's there, you need to know about it. Most feed readers out there support both RSS and Atom, because just there are feeds in different things, so they need to be able to read the different things. Problem, WinDev doesn't natively support Atom. Doesn't mean that you cannot code to support Atom yourself, but it's not going to be as easy as with RSS. So, a little more technically, how is RSS working? Well, RSS is an XML formatted plain text. So, what does that mean? It means that when a website or something like that has something to say, it is going to write a few strings inside a text file formatted under the XML format that you all know about, and then put it where it's available for the readers to get. That's the way it works, nothing else. There is no specific communication protocol defined in the RSS norm. RSS feed can be accessed either via HTTP through a regular URL, FTP where you just go get an XML file, a web service, and so on and so forth. Anything that you can communicate with, you can use to get a RSS feed. So there's nothing normalized at that level. It is a standard. Yeah, right. Let's talk about standards. if you know any standards in the world of computing science, then you know one more than I do. In the case of RSS, we have the RDF branch, in which we have the RSS version 0.9, 1.0 and 1.1. And then we have the RSS2.star branch, in which we have the RSS 0.91, 0.92 and 2.0.1. If that does make sense to you, then you're a happy guy. It does not make any sense to me. Now, it is supposed to be backward compatible, but not in all cases. So, that's the bad news. XML, the XML file may be formatted different ways. So, not amusing at all. The good news is that WinDev has a built-in high-level mechanism for RSS. High level as in we don't spend lots of time dealing with the XML format. So that's a very good news. This system allows you to both consume RSS and produce RSS. You have everything you need in there to create a RSS feed and to consume a RSS feed. So that's really, really, really good news. Less good news. What version are supported? Well, according to a small little note at the end of one of the many different help pages, only version 2.0. Which means it's the last one, so it's basically supposedly backward compatible with all the other except rarely, so that's good. But it also means that the high-level mechanism that is inside WinDev may not work in some case of RSS feed. It is a distinct possibility. I don't have any example of that, but it is perfectly possible. You have to be aware of the limitation, of the possible limitation of your tool. What is happening with RSS in W language? And I'm talking about W language because even though this the first example that is going to support this course is in WinDev, it could be in WebDev or mobile. You can consume RSS feed from any environment and display it on a web page in WinDev or on mobile. So it's really platform independent. So what we're going to look at here is really for all the environments. The first thing that you have in W language is a big series of high-level variables. The same way that we saw that in the last course in .NET. We have a variable called RSS stream, RSS source, RSS text input, RSS image, RSS identifier, RSS entry, RSS enclosure, RSS display, RSS cloud, RSS channel, RSS category, and RSS build string. We're not going to go through each and one of them and look at each and one of the characteristics of each level. The one thing that you need to know about this variable is that they are high-level variable, and each variable has several properties, some of these properties being arrays. So it is high-level stuff. And we're going to instead look at how they are used. So, once again, as usual in my course, I'm telling you the same thing, read the help. There are lots of pages about RSS, including several cases on one page on creating a RSS reader, one page on creating a RSS stream, and so on and so forth. So, before you do anything with RSS, read everything you can get on it. It will give you a basic idea of what's what. Now, there are also several examples coming directly with your tools. There are examples of RSS readers both in WinDev, WinDev Mobile, and WebDev. So you can see how to use them in any environment. There is also example of a stream producer. There's an example of that in the blog example in WebDev. So you have examples about everything. Of course, as usual, they are just examples. They do not pretend to solve all the problem. They're giving you basic stuff to start with. So stop complaining about the fact that not all the answers are directly in the example or in the help, and take the example for what they are, a starting point for you to build your own application. Now, the question that I was confronted with when I arrived at that point of my course was whether I was going to give you fishes or teach you to fish. And in this course, I decided to try to take the second approach. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to analyze the WD-RSS reader example. Why? Because by doing that, we're going to achieve two things. We're going to learn how to consume RSS, which is the main subject of this course, of course. But we are also going to learn how to analyze an example to learn a new functionality. Because, well, clearly I was not anymore born knowing about RSS that you were, which means that I had to do the analyzing in order to know how to use RSS. And I thought that it would be a good idea to show you how it's done, so that in the future you can do it yourself. And yes, the more I think about it, the more it looks like I'm shooting myself in the foot. But let's start with a demo of that example. The first thing that you need to know is clearly, how do you find examples about something? Well, first you look in the help. In the help, when you're looking at something, you have at the end, of course, this page is just one where there's nothing. Look at this function for managing the RSS stream, and at the bottom of the page you have a list of examples. Now, if you want to just not look in the help, there is also other ways to find that. One of the way is to do a file, open an example. You have a list here of all the examples, and if you type a keyword like RSS, you will get WD RSS Reader. Other examples are available in WebDev and mobile, of course. If you type .NET, you will get these examples. Okay, complete example training. Okay, so it's very easy to find. One last thing that you can do also is here, see the guide. In see the guide, you type RSS, select this keyword, and you have different things here, help function. So you have different ways of finding information very easily, finding example, finding the help, finding everything. So now that we know how to find what we want, here I selected to open the WD RSS reader. It's this. We are here and I'm closing everything. Okay, so first a little demo of what it does. Okay, here it is. We have a beautiful window in which we have, let's see, on the left a tree view with what looks like different RSS feed. That's the look. Let's click on one of them. Okay, it's doing something, and here we are. We have here what looks like title of article, and when we select them we have below the corresponding text and the clearly also a link. Well, that is a simple RSS reader. Alright, it is doing what we want it to do. That's great. So, what's next? So, we just saw that clearly WD RSS reader is a simple RSS reader. It is working. It is going and connecting by default on two different RSS feeds available on PCSoft website. So it's good. It's a good example and it's working. So that's good news. Now let's dig in. How do you start analyzing an example like this one? Well, you start by the beginning, and the beginning of anything that is happening inside a project is the project initialization code. So project code, and look at that, absolutely nothing. Now normally the project initialization code is going to contain all kind of things that are going to tell you how things are organized. If there is absolutely nothing in the project init code, it means that everything is happening inside at least the first window. So let's have a look at what kind of windows we have. I'll get back to that later. What do we have? Well, WinMain. That's the first window, as you can see by the icon. Let's have a look at it. I can close the project init code that is empty, and we can recognize here, I'm going to reduce that too. We can recognize here the window that we were seeing with all the elements of the RSS feed displayed in it. So let's first have a look at the Windows initialization code. So I'm just tap it on the F2 key to get to the source. And what do we have? First we have declaration of constants. So that for now is not telling us a lot, just that there are some constants that are used in order to have the code more clear when you read it. And after that we have this. For those of you who don't know, this is the declaration of usage of an external text file. In this case it's called keyconst.wl, and that is in fact a way where you can include inside your own source the content of an external file. In clear that this is just something that is done during the compiling, and after that you don't have that file in clear outside, of course. It's just at compilation time. So what is in this file? A whole series of constants that is used for Windows API calls and things like that. So I don't know yet how it's used anywhere, or if it's still used anywhere in the project, but we can have a look later. So that is okay, and then we have three very important lines. How do I know that they are important? Well, because look at that. My RSS stream is a RSS stream. What the hell is a RSS stream? Is a RSS channel? Is a RSS entry? Well, if I consider this, I can go on it, do F1, and look at that. RSS stream is a type of variable used to handle a RSS stream. And look at that. At that point, I'm going to read the whole shebang. What is a RSS string? Well, I'm not going to make you read the whole thing. Basically, this is a variable in which you have different properties defined here, like categories, things like that. And as you can see, this is an array. So inside your RSS stream variable, you are defining an array of possible RSS channel, which is a second type of category of variable, high level also. You can define basically everything about the RSS feed, how you access it, the date, time, author, this, that, the other. So clearly it's a very high level stuff. Let's look at how it's used. The second thing, RSS channel, we saw that you have an array of RSS channel in RSS stream. So if you do F1 on it, same thing, high level variable. And if we look at the property in it, okay, we have categories, cloud, and an array of RSS entry. Look at that. And the next variable that we have here is of RSS entry type. So we are in the initialization of the window that is doing the whole work, and we have these three global variables that clearly are going to be extremely important. Now, what else is done in the initialization of the window? Absolutely nothing, which means that there's no call, nothing, that the remaining of the work is done somewhere else. Okay? So if the initialization, as you saw at the beginning, that the tree view was containing something, so the tree view has to be initialized somewhere, and it's not there. If it's not in the window itself, it means that it is directly inside the tree view. At this point, we know that there is nothing in the project initialization code and everything inside the window. We also know that in the window init, there are constants that will be used later and three main variables by the look of it, and variable of a very, very powerful type. Things that we didn't know before. So that's an extremely interesting starting point. We also saw that there is nothing called in the init after that, which means that the tree view and the content of the tree view has to be initialized inside itself. So let's look at that now. So I'm going back to the window, selecting the tree view, typing F2, and I have here the code of the tree view. So what do I have? I have some code in the initialization, so okay, it is initialized here. And I have some code in the selecting a row of tree category to display the stream. Okay, do I have anything else? Yes, when I right click down on something, I am doing also a display stream. Okay, and it says display the options properly without opening the stream. So that means that something is happening inside the display stream. As you can see, there is a false parameter, so we are doing something different with a right click. We are going to have a look at all that. The first thing, of course, is the initialization. So what do we do in the initialization? Tree add, okay, that is adding a header to the tree, and then we're calling something that clearly is filling the tree before expanding all the tree view element to have everything visible. So the magic is inside the fill category tree view. F2 on it, and here am I. Okay, so what am I doing? Well, if I go back, I see that I'm sending as parameter 0 and my RSS stream. Okay, why? Well, what is the first thing? It's the ID of the parent. There's no parent in the first level, so that's normal. And the parent path is string and is whatever you have as a title. So clearly this is going to be filling the tree view below what we are passing as parameter. Now what are we doing? For each category, okay, what is category? And that's where you see it's a problem when you don't use a charter for everything. Category could be a lot of things. Well, in that case, I am guessing that it's going to be a file. So I'm going to have a look in the analysis, and yes, there is a category file and a stream file. Okay, so we are looping on all the category where parent ID equal NID parent category. Okay, so everything that is linked to that level, and we said 0 by default. Okay, we are adding the content of the file. Okay, then for each stream linked to the category, we are adding the different streams of each category into the tree. Okay, that's simple enough. Then we are saving the hyperfile context. Why we are doing that? Oh, look at that. We are calling back the same function here and here. So we are going some re-entering inside our own code. Now, that may be a problem because, well, this is not supported officially by W language. What do I mean by that? Well, in a case like that, it's not a problem because, well, clearly we're not going to have hundreds of levels of category, subcategory, and sub-subcategory inside one RSS feed. So you can code this way. But you have to know that the call stack is limited. Last time I checked, it was limited to 600 level. I haven't checked in version 18, but I'm guessing that it's not much bigger than that. What does that mean? It means that if you are making more than 600 calls, one inside the other, nested inside the other, you will have a Stack Overflow error and your project will crash. So, having code calling itself in W language is not a good idea. You have to be aware of that. In this particular case, it's not going to be a problem because we'll never reach that depth of nesting, but it is a problem in theory for all kind of code. So avoid this kind of coding if you can. There's always a way to do it without that. So that's something that I try really not to do. So that's why we are doing the hsave position, because clearly when we come back from there, we want to continue where we were in this, and this is a file. We are moving through the file, so we clearly want to save the position and restore it. And that's it. At this point, we still haven't done anything specific to a RSS feed. We are just filling a tree view with the names of everything we want to display in the tree view, and that's all. Okay, we saw that in the tree view initialization we are just reading the files. We also saw before that there was some code in the tree view select code and called something that say that it was displaying the stream. So that's where the magic is going to happen. So let's have a look. Let's go back from there and we go back down, selecting a row of tree category, and when we do that we do display stream. So we have a boolean saying that if it's true we are displaying the stream, if not we are not. So we are in a display stream function that may not display the stream. For now it's quite strange, but that's okay. We are in the analyzing part of the project, so we are trying to understand what's going on. Retrieve the identifier of the selected element. Okay, no problem. Is SID equal then? It's not a stream. Ah, yes, of course. Inside this tree view we have both the streams at the lowest level, and at a higher level we have the categories of stream. So we clearly, like we had here in the file, category and stream, we want to display the stream only if we are on a stream and not if we are on a line where a category is displayed. So now it's starting to make sense. So if it's not a stream, then what are we doing? Okay, opt modify, opt delete element, opt stream, that is the option of a menu. So it means that we have a pop-up menu somewhere called MC stream category, and clearly it must be on the tree view. So if we have a look at the tree view and we go inside the GUI part, okay, we have a pop-up menu called MC stream category. We can edit it to see what it does. Okay, we can do a new category, new RSS stream, we can open, we can modify, delete, and properties. Okay, so we have this whole thing going on, and clearly that means that it matches the right click on tree view that we had before. I'm going to close that, and if I go back on the tree view and F2, remember we had right button down of tree category. So clearly we want not only to display the pop-up menu, but also to do other thing when the right button is put down. And then on the up you have the menu. That can start to make sense. So let's go back to the display stream. Display stream, okay. So if it's not a stream, we are changing some of the options: modify, delete element, open stream, property, everything is great, okay. If it's a stream or category, modify and delete become active, okay. So if we do a right click on a category, what is happening is that the click on the button down is first coming through here and activating this option, and then when the button goes up, the menu appears with the proper options activated. Isn't that neat? So just by reading this example, we just learned something about a trick that you can do. You can have a menu on a tree view or anything else, and by doing something on the button right button down event, you can change what option of the menu are active or not before it is displayed. Isn't that neat? So what else do we have? We are looking at the ID of the tree identifier. Okay, so we put an ID in it when we're feeding it, and clearly it tells us what it is. If it's a stream, we're doing this. If it's a category, we are doing that. And if it's something else, then we may be in trouble, so we're just graying the whole thing. Okay? Now, what do we do if it's a category? First, that's the thing that really doesn't interest us that much, so let's look at it first. We are just modifying the menu. If we click on the category, we are changing what options are available. Open stream is grayed, property is grayed, and a new stream is active, which means that if you click on a category, you cannot open a stream, you're not in the category, but you can create a new stream that will be below it. Okay, all that makes sense. Now, if we are on the case of a RSS line, what are we doing? Again, menu, the open is active, the properties is active, so you can see what are the properties of the stream, and new stream is active also. Even when you're on the stream, you can create another one below it. Okay, but no problem there. Now, if we are in the case where we want to display the stream, okay, if by display stream if selected, then open the current stream, and only in that case are we really going to open the stream. Now let's have a look at this one.